This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, here on November the 18th, 2021. Just had a little bit of snow this morning, our first little bit of a snowfall, but it's kind of clear out there now, So I'm like, okay, I don't have to get my snow tires yet. But I might have to get them in order to get away from one Art the Clown, or maybe not. I did have David Howard Thornton on the show back in May. We're on good terms, Maybe, he might help me if I need pushed out of a gutter in the wintertime, maybe. Just don't take a selfie with them. But folks, speaking of Terrifier, I have the Exterminator on the show today, which is interesting because I make my money as a cleaner. This guy's an exterminator. And sometimes when I'm working cleaning buildings and I need some of these students to get their asses out of there, I might have to get this guy. Might work. Security does. They don't listen to security. They might listen to him. Folks, I give you the guy who played the Exterminator, and he's also a film producer and director himself, Michael Leavy. How do you do, Mike?
I'm doing great, man. And what an introduction. That was awesome. Thank you very much. And it's just an honor to be here with you, Greg, and to be chatting with you this afternoon. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. It's funny. Financially, I took a hit this year because I had to, I should put my phone in flight mode because if I don't, I'm going to be messaged by about a dozen people. But anyway, here we go. There we go. Taken care of. Anyway, I got hit bad financially this year because number one, I had to get a CPAP machine because I went from moderate to extreme sleep apnea.
Wow.
And then after that, I had to get a new car because my car stalled going down a busy street, and it's not the first time it stalled, but that was the scariest. And the mechanic couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, so I had to get a new car. I bring that up because I get hit up a lot to support projects, and it's just like I'm not able to. However, when you hit me up with the project, I looked it up because you had a lot of people in it that I was familiar with, a few whom I interviewed. D. Wallace in particular, just last week. And I was like, the Exterminator from Terrifier is messaging me. How surreal is that? Shouldn't I be messaging him? Okay. So I looked into it, and I did for the movie stream. I ordered the Blu-ray, but I also ordered the Blu-ray with abnormal behavior because I've interviewed somebody from that, and we'll get to that. And I thought, you know what, I'll do that. And then I asked if you'd come on here, so I'm happy to have you on here today.
Yeah, I'm honored to first and foremost to just have your support for Stream and for everything that we're doing. That means a lot that you came on board with the contribution. We know it's not easy, especially around this time of year, and then you add everything else onto it, like you just mentioned with life. So
Yeah.
We don't take anybody that supports us and contributes lightly, and it truly means a lot and means the world. So thank you, and thank you for being a part of the team. But then, obviously, beyond that, it's just an honor to be here today talking with you, and I'm glad we're able to do this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got this on Blu-ray, and you're my second interview guest from it because I had David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown himself, on earlier this year, back in, I think it was May. What a great guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a lot of fun, and it was great, obviously, working with him on Terrifier and Terrifier 2. And then also working with him on Stream as well. He's just a down-to-earth, really genuine human being. And, we have a lot of fun on set.
Yeah. Oh, I had a lot of fun talking to him. And I remember you had a head-raising experience in this film.
Right back here. is a
That
copy of the of the mold from the mold that we did the decapitation scene. So that was definitely a lot of fun to do and unique experience for me.
You know what? If you had you just gone home, you could have avoided that. Like,
I
what was
know.
it really? Did you really need to get the keys or get in there that bad?
I know. I was in the car. I had it start. The engine was revving, and I was ready to go. And then all of a sudden, I take my job very seriously. So obviously, if you needed to get those kids out of the building, I could definitely do something for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least with in my situation, you might get to keep your head.
Right. Right. And that's a plus, right? That's definitely a benefit. So
I remember interviewing David, and um, we got joking. I got to get Jenna Canal on here at some point, because I said to him, I said, when she was tied to that chair, I said, did you ever, like, like, bug her, like, go up and go like this under her chin and this and that?
yeah, she's a fun sport for sure. Both, I mean, her and Catherine, and so even Sam, the three women in Terrifier are just amazing people. A lot of fun to be around. Really, really cool to hang out with and talk with. And I'm with them quite often nowadays, especially during the convention seasons. And it's always great to catch up and talk with them. And they're also filmmakers too. They don't just act; they're actually doing their own projects. So they're really, really interesting people to chat with. So I think that would be awesome for you to get an interview with her or any of them.
Yeah. Oh, I like Jenna. Jenna, was you there when she was tied to the chair? That was
I,
lengthy.
I wasn't there for that scene actually. I got on the project later after it had already started with Terrifier, the first one. So sadly, I was not there for that particular day. No.
Because I'll tell you, if I was Art the Clown, I would have bugged the crap out of her, because she would have.
I'm sure Dave had some fun because once Dave gets the makeup on, he totally transforms into someone else and gets a little method with it. So not too far, because if you get too far with Art the Clown and being method, it gets a little strange. But he definitely does like to have fun with it for sure.
Yeah. I think the upside down scene was a bit much to handle, though. I'll say that. Um,
Yeah, for sure. And she was, there's only a certain amount of time that you could hang upside down to
mhm.
where you can then risk having seizures. So Catherine will tell you the story about how, in between take, I think it's something like 45 seconds where then they have to lift her up, put some kind of backing support system so she could, lay kind of upright, pull it out, go down, do the scene. And she can tell you most of the story, but just a quick thing is that the next day, she was having, I think, something wrong with her ear and she felt dizzy and stuff. And she went to the doctors and she had found out that I think her eardrum or something had shifted because of being upside down. And the doctor had said to her, do you do aerobics or anything? And she's like, or gymnastics? And she's like, no, why? And she says, well, I usually see this with people who are constantly flipping and doing crazy stuff and stunt work and things. And she says, no, well, I did just do this. And he goes, oh, well, that makes sense. That's exactly what could have caused this. So that's a fun little story that she can tell you if you ever have her on.
Yeah. Um, I heard a similar story from Russell Todd when he did Friday the 13th Part 2. He, of course, was hanging upside down, and he said, between takes I had to, you know, elevate him a little bit.
For sure.
So, yeah. Yeah. No, I like Terrifier. It's something a little, well, we haven't had a good slasher villain in a while, you know. And a lot of the classics, you can go back and you can watch the classics. I find a lot of them today are pushed. This one even pushed the envelope, but still, I enjoyed it. um, but talk about having your head decapitated in this.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun and unique process. Originally, most people don't know this. I was actually cast as the cop at the end of the film that came in and saw Art eating the face, and and the whole scene when he shoots himself. So I was originally cast as the cop. And what happened is Damien decided to do another kill scene and it asked me, he says, would you be interested in another role? It's a little bit of a bigger role. And the cool thing is he goes, the interesting part is you won't make the sequel. He goes, but you'll have a really cool death scene. And I said, oh, that's awesome. So I said, what's the death scene? He goes, I want to do a decapitation, but I want to really show every moment of it and not cheapen it with cutaways. I want to really give the audience the experience of the decapitation scene. So I said, oh, that'll be awesome. Now I had done a quick, small decapitation scene in another movie years earlier, and I had a very bad experience with molding and casting my face. So I had expressed this to Damien and had said to him, I had a bad experience with the whole casting process. He says, don't worry about it. And I explained to him what happened. He says, you'll be fine. You're in good hands. So for me personally, that was obviously more scary than doing the scene, but I used it as an opportunity to overcome a fear that I had obviously going in the whole thing, because you're in there for a lengthy amount of time. So we did the molding, everything went great, the cast, everything worked out awesome. And then we go to shoot the scene. And of course it's in the middle of the winter, it's freezing, I'm covered in blood. And I can't go anywhere because I can track it through this entire warehouse that we're shooting in. So for lunch had to be brought to me. You're sticky, the whole thing. But we have a phrase that we always use at my production company, Fuzz on the Lens, that is pain is temporary and footage lasts forever. So right now we're sitting here in our warm houses and I'm able to talk about a really cool scene. And, I don't remember, obviously that much about being cold. I just know that it was cold. And something that was cool is I wear contacts. So the blood that poured from my face had pooled a ring around my eyes that were red. And that was pretty creepy for sure after the shoot, but it was definitely fun. And just to see Damien work through the entire process and just to see how he, because he's an effects guru as far as I'm concerned, and everyone can really see how he comes from the school of thought of Tom Savini and the practical effects and that 80s and 70s style of doing things rather than the CGI. And I think that's an art form, and I think that's really incredible how he does it and how he pays attention to the details. So just being involved in something like that, it opened my mind as a filmmaker in general, of how you can really accomplish things creatively in the right way and make it look super cool and push the boundaries.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, I haven't had Damien on here yet either. I plan to reach out to these people. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But nonetheless, David Howard Thornton, of course, you've got on stream coming up, and what a great guy. You have any memories of working with him on Terrifier? Was that your first meeting with him?
Yes, that the first time I'd met Dave was on Terrifier. Didn't know much about him. I really didn't know much about Damien either, because that's the first time I'd met him. The executive producer, Phil Falcone, came on the set. He visited our set of Abnormal Attraction, and that's where I met Phil through another friend, and that's where he had looped us into working on his movie called Joe's War that has Tom Sizemore and Ed Asner and Amanda Sante. So we had helped him out with that, and then from that he brought us on to Terrifier to do that project with them. So this was the first time of meeting any of them, and Dave is just a lot of fun. He comes from a comedy background. I come from a comedy background. My brother Jason comes from a comedy background. My partner Steve comes from comedy, but we all have a love for horror too. So that was an immediate connection. And Damien is the same way. He just loves movies, even though he does horror films and that's really his thing. Damien could talk about any movie, any genre, and full detail and full depth. He just loves movies, and that's really something that I'm also the same way. So we connected immediately from the start with that, and then through that, friendship just kept going and growing. And then they came to the premiere of Normal Attraction, and obviously the Terrifier came out, and then we went to do Terrifier 2 and then Stream. So it's just constantly growing each and every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Or outside conventions, do you work any more with Jenna?
Jenna, no, I haven't yet. I'd like to, but I see her, I see Catherine, I see Sam a lot during the convention season. You know, we're always obviously doing the same shows and stuff, especially if they want to do a Terrifier themed, you know, reunion or something like that. So, but I haven't worked with them outside of Terrifier world just yet, but we're definitely been in talks of doing certain things together, and hopefully, you know, that'll come to fruition in the future. That'll come to reality.
I mentioned to David Howard Thornton that Jenna has a striking resemblance to Nev
Nev
Campbell. Would you?
Campbell. Yep.
Yeah.
I say it too. When I first met her, I said it. I said she looks like a young Nev Campbell, and you know, now it's tough to see it because she actually, her hair is totally shaved and it's buzzed. But you know, she's still, you know, you see her from a side, you're like, is she related to Nev? Or, and I had
Tell
thought that from the beginning.
tell her to grow it back out.
Yeah, you know, she's trying. I guess different looks. Actors usually like to do that. I'm constantly changing my look up all the time: beard, mustache, you know, facial hair, long hair, short hair, no hair. So I don't know. It's just something we like to do. Keep it
Yeah.
fresh.
Well, and you're not involved with Terrifier 2, so they
No,
didn't.
I am. I'm actually the
Oh, are
assistant.
you?
Yeah, I'm the assistant director on Terrifier 2, and I'm a producer on Terrifier 2. Yeah.
Okay, because you got some interesting people lined up for that. You got
Yeah.
you got two people I actually just met at Frightmare in the Falls,
Okay.
Felissa Rose and Dave Sheridan, both being
Yeah.
in this. Dave was in his Officer Doofy outfit, and I said to him at Frightmare, because I'm also an associate producer on Z Dead End,
Oh.
and when I met him, I said to I told him about that, and he says to me, he says, technically, you're my boss. And he looks over at the table with Felissa, and she goes, hey, this is our boss. Felissa's like, hello.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, Dave is just awesome, and working with him on stream was really, really fun too. And Felissa, and obviously Felissa with Terrifier as well. She's just a ball. Both of them are just a ball of energy, a lot of fun to be around. And shooting Terrifier 2 was one of the most craziest but fun experiences I've ever had. And we did Terrifier 2, and then we went right into stream back to back. Obviously, a pandemic happened in the middle of it,
Yeah.
but which delayed a lot of things, and a lot of things for everybody. But you know, long hours, but I'll tell you, it was all worth it. And I think the fans are really, really going to love what we did with Terrifier 2. It's just a much bigger movie. You know, even though I'm not in it cast wise and involved with it that way, I was definitely more hands on with this movie than I was with the first one. Just, you know, my production company is the production company that produced it. I'm a producer myself, being the assistant director, working hand in hand with Damien on the entire project. It was just a really amazing experience, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Yeah, I'm still, and I said this to them at the event. I said I'm still waiting for the Officer Doofy Angela crossover. I mean, that needs to happen.
That would be fun for sure. And I mean, I love Office. I mean, I love both characters, obviously, and growing up, and it's just so cool now that, you know, I became friends with them, and you know, who would have ever thought, the young me, you know, thinking that back, you know, that this would be a reality. So it's definitely something that I cherish, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, he was in his Officer Doofy outfit
That's fun.
yeah. Just looking up Terrifier 2 here, because you got Tamara Glynn in this as well.
Yeah, I actually got Tamara in that project. She was a friend for many years, and I had met her maybe 12 years ago now, and at her festival called the Hot Springs Horror Film Festival. She used to run in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and we had met through that, and just stayed in touch. And you know, she basically became like family to us. And when the opportunity came up for Terrifier 2, we were looking for a specific role that I felt Tamara would fit pretty well, and it'd be fun just to get her involved, and spoke to Damien, and we made it happen. So that was really, really cool. And especially coming from that Halloween franchise that we all love. I mean, Art the Clown wouldn't be around if it wasn't for, you know, the Halloweens and the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Friday the 13th and stuff. So it was kind of nice to include them in this and pay a little bit of tribute to what have come before.
Let's talk about stream, shall we?
Sure.
I'm assuming this is not documentary footage of, flowing water.
No, it is not. You know, it's a babbling brooks and just a very calm, wet movie.
I had I've interviewed Dee Wallace twice. Once last week, and she's of course involved in 13 Fanboy, and I met her at Horrorama 2018, and I said to her, I said, "You're the first person I ever met at a con who had her own debit machine." I said, "I hate carrying cash on me."
It's true. We know it's funny. We carry one too. One of
Yeah.
the readers, and everybody that we know that's around us will say, "Hey, can we use yours for us?" And then we'll Venmo you the money or exchange, because no one has them. And I know how it is. I hate carrying around cash too.
Yep.
So the thing is, it makes it so much easier. I've seen more people doing it now, but still not as many. I think everybody should have them, at least, for the convenience purposes.
Yeah, and I noticed you got Lyndon Porco on here. I met him at Frightmare.
Yeah, Lyndon is really, really cool. He's become a great friend. And actually, we have still a few scenes left, and one of which is Lyndon's, that we have not shot yet. And that's obviously because of the COVID pandemic, that, when the borders, he's actually from Canada. So
Mhm.
when the borders and everything were all shut, and, we're trying to figure out, when we can make this a reality, make it possible. Because, 90% of the movie is shot, and we have 10% still left to do.
Oh wow. Yeah, my story about Lyndon is it was, of course, it was at Niagara Falls, Scotiabank Convention Center, and I was staying at the Tower Hotel that night, and a magician who was going to be there, Ryan Brown, had he's been on my show a couple times. I used to see him. I've seen him every year at Horrorama, and he had called me and wanted to take me to dinner because I'm from here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and they're from Toronto. So hadn't seen me in a couple of years. So went to dinner, and then afterwards we walked outside the hotel, and there was Lyndon Porco, one of the promoters, out there having a smoke. And I was like, it was so odd seeing them outside the convention.
Yeah, I had the same experience with Tim Curry at
Oh,
Schiller Theater, and you were inside, obviously, the convention, right? And then this is before. I think that, yeah, it had to be. This is before Terrifier was. I think we shot it, but it wasn't out yet. So I was
uh-huh.
just there. I wasn't a guest. I was just visiting and as a fan, and big fan of Tim's. And this is before we even, because we're part of that documentary, the original Stephen King's It doc. So this is before that too. And I met Tim in the event, and then I'm walking outside to put something in my car or get something, and Tim's just out there having a smoke. And it was like so bizarre, I guess, seeing him in the real world, which is only 15 feet from the door, right? You know what I mean? Like just out and about, and not inside where there's these huge lines. And, it was really cool. And he was a down to earth, guy. And it's a shame what had happened, but it's just incredible that he's, still working and still doing it, and coming around and meeting the fans now. So that's definitely something that's really cool.
Was he the sweet twin best eight?
Yes, always is.
No, I'd never interviewed him. I've had Little Nell on here twice, so I
Oh,
love
wow.
Little Nell. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. I You mentioned the convention scene. I just started doing the conventions in 2017, and because Lisa Langlois from Class of 1984 invited me, which I thought was really cool because it formed a friendship with her, which I still have to this day. Every time I go to Toronto, I contact her. And we get together and have dinner and whatnot. But she was the one that told me about I should get business cards done up and this and that. And I credit Lisa for getting me, because I used to get homesick just leaving New Brunswick. I don't know why I went to Toronto and felt straight at home there, but I miss it when I'm not there. But Lisa had schooled me on working the subway and the streetcars, and And right now, I can just get off the plane in Toronto and know exactly what I'm doing, which is I credit Lisa for. And I've done 3 horror-ramas, 1 Toronto Comic Con, and Frightmare in the Falls. And I've met some interesting people. And who have you met that stand out to you?
Someone, well, obviously Tim Curry is up there, but Robert Englund is one that definitely is on the top of the list. I was a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan growing up, and I had met Robert at probably the first convention I did, which was called Rock and Shock here in the States, and it was in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I had never known about the convention scene either. And I think the first one that I did was like 2011 or 2013 or like in that range. So I was blown away that this was even a thing, and really, really loved it, enjoyed it. And then from there, I ended up getting on the film Fear Clinic and working with Robert. And I got to play the younger version of him in that movie, which was surreal. And then I got to do some extra work as the demon, the Black, they called him, that Robert kind of transformed into. So, and from that movie, I made so many great connections. So Robert Englund was definitely one that was up there that is memorable and I was blown away by it. I think it's a tie really between him and Tim, but everybody I meet that I grew up watching or enjoying through the convention scene has always been a lot of fun. And then obviously to work with, them too is just incredible. Like I just got to work with on stream Jeffrey Combs, from Reanimator, and that was just super awesome. And he's become a great friend now. And also Tim Reed, who I met on doing the Pennywise doc, and we just formed a friendship and stayed in touch. And it was just, holidays, how you doing, and things like that. And then stream came up, and I said, I'd love to have you involved in this. And he was one of the first people that I sent the script to years ago. And he goes, Mike, I don't do horror anymore. I'm not really a fan. I did Stephen King's It, and that was it, because I liked the story. But he read the story and he really connected with it and liked it. He says, he goes, this is different. This has some depth to it. He goes, I think I'm going to return to horror and I'm going to do this. And he kept his word. He did it. This was maybe 4 years ago that this had come about. And then we shot the movie this year. So this was a long time we were talking about doing it. And then he did it, which was really, really cool. So, I mean, you meet different people all the time, and, you have different reasons for connecting with them and doing things with them. And another huge one that I can't forget is Mark Holton, who plays Ozzy in Leprechaun. That film, to me, I know most people, I mean, you can see here, I'll swing over, boom, there's a leprechaun right there.
Well, you get to work with one. You get to work with Lyndon.
Yeah. So, I mean, that movie was, for me, as a kid, I saw it at the right age, was really fascinated with it, loved the mix of the horror and the comedy. And that's a big reason I got into filmmaking. And I met Mark Jones, who was the creator, and he was super cool. And I had Jennifer Aniston, she's gorgeous. And so Mark was somebody I really, really looked up to, and somebody that I was excited to work with. His resume from Pee Wee Herman and Teen Wolf and Leprechaun and everything. So working with him on stream was, and I met him at a convention. Working with him though on stream was just a dream come true, and so surreal that I had to take a step back to just say, wow, this is awesome.
It is awesome. It's very surreal. It's funny because I was a big fan of Lisa Langlois growing up. It's funny now, I don't think of that. I think of her as my friend. We actually send each other Christmas gifts. Actually, my birthday's in July, but when I went to Toronto for Frightmare in the Falls, she and a friend of hers had a belated birthday surprise for me, because she was so busy this summer, she was not able to send me anything. And she and her friend got together with me, and I didn't even know this was coming, but they had a little cake and they said, we know it's 4 months afterwards, but, and I'm like, you know what?
That's
This
fantastic.
is so cool.
Yeah. That's just genuine people, number one. And I find that in the horror community specifically, just really, I mean, just the fans and the filmmakers and the actors and stuff, everybody's really close and accessible, and the fans care, the filmmakers care, and I just think it's a really great atmosphere that a lot of the other genres don't have particularly. Maybe a little bit in the comic book Avengers and stuff, but it's not as close knit. The fans care tremendously, but it's not as close knit between the filmmakers and the fans.
I'll give you a good example of that. When I went to my first first Horrorama, and that's run by Chris Alexander and Louis Serez. Louis Serez of Suspect Video. Chris Alexander used to write for Fangoria or edit for Fangoria. When I went there, it was so communal, you know. I helped Lisa at her table, but when I did get out and around, you know, like I remember there was a woman dressed up as a demented clown, and she approached me and she said she liked my shirt. I had a Clockwork Orange shirt on, and she kind of unrolled her sleeve, and there she had the Clockwork Orange poster tattooed on her arm, you know.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And I thought Comic-Con was fun. The cosplay was amazing. I never had any bad experiences with any guests at any event. Knock on wood, I hope it stays that way. But I notice a difference between the guests at Horrorama and Frightmare in the Falls and Comic-Con. Comic-Con, again, no complaints about anybody. Everybody was super cool. But there were two that elevated above them all. One was John Rhys-Davies from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Super cool. He would ask everybody that approached him, you know, where they're from, what they do. And one of the things he would do, and he did this with me, when we got our picture taken together, he stuck his arm around me and went like this into my side to get me to react. I did. He was super cool. And the other one that made a big impression on me was Corbin Burson, who was yeah, he was I guess his handler was showing him how to do selfies, and he was like, I'm an expert at this now. It said to his handler, it's like, get over here, let's do another one.
That's funny.
I noticed those two in particular were a very standout, and they were so cool to meet. Nothing against the others. The others were fine, but those two were the most memorable. But I find at the horror ones, everybody stands out. Like I remember when I sat at Lisa's table with her, like we be at this table, and then just to the side of us was Vernon Wells, who is in Social Distance, which I was part of that. And you know, when we had some downtime, I would just sit there at my chair and just chill with him, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
just
the horror, I mean, yeah, that's true. The horror, the community is just unbelievable. Everybody's so down to earth and has a good time, and they're very humble about it, and you can approach them. Everybody's approachable is the way, I guess, the word, and accepting and inviting, because we understand that we wouldn't be in the position we are without our fans, you know. And it's you guys and it's us. We're all fans ourselves, right? I'm a fan, I'm in the movies, and it's like, it's just, we're all part of this whole crazy awesome world, and you know, don't take it for granted, for sure.
how strange it was for me just to watch 13 Fanboy and see my name as a co-producer. I don't know when I'll be able to do that again, but
You know what? It's true. It's where else you get experiences like that? No other
yeah.
films really, because you know, horror's in that sweet spot to where you can be a part of it and contribute, and you meet people, and yeah, like it's awesome. It really is.
And you know, my picture covered in blood in the movie, and so I was like, yeah, that is pretty surreal, you know. And I got a perk for stream there where I bought the Blu-ray and the Abnormal Attraction Blu-ray, and my name will be in those credits. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. You know, you got my attention with your cast. Dee Wallace, like I said, I had met, and we got off track there, but still, Dee was a delight. Talk about casting her in this movie.
Yeah, so she was, she's someone that I've always admired, obviously from afar. I think we all have,
Yeah.
for anybody who hasn't met her. And she's someone that to me just brings such a level of, you know what you're going to get with Dee Wallace. You're going to get a great performance. You're going to get someone who's totally genuine on screen and someone that you feel for and just absolutely love. And from everything, and at this point I hadn't met her yet. So I heard through everyone, she's just a sweetheart of a person, an amazing person to work with. And let me tell you, everything that was advertised was that and more with working with Dee and meeting Dee. And what's actually cool is this role was written really for Dee, in mind. And, we had said, because you never know if they're going to take the role or not take the role and things like that. So you just kind of hope that they're going to connect with the character and that you can get your wish list of people on board. So with Dee, we were put into contact with her through maybe Felissa and maybe Danielle, because at that time they were brought on and they says, yeah, we'll bring it to her and let Dee take a look at it. And what was cool is Dee said, listen, I love the film. But she says, what goes on with the character, she says, I have some thoughts about some things and because I want to bring what I can, the most of what I can to this role. And that to me clicked. That was like, this is someone who cares. This is not just would be a paycheck for her, because she could easily just cash in and say, yeah, I'll come in and do this and wipe my hands of it. She genuinely cared and says, I would like to be able to do more and really deliver with this and give you your money's worth and give you my full, talents, capabilities. So we worked some things out and figured it out. And then Dee came on board. And also Dee is repped by the same manager that is repped by Jeffrey Combs. The manager is this guy, Mike, and he's awesome too and super straightforward. And a lot of times in this business, you don't get that. So I totally appreciated just his approach to business and he's a fan too. So that was really, really cool. So once Dee came on board, it was just, we were so elated and so happy and so excited. And she wanted to have a discussion immediately with me on the phone, just about the character and about the script and about the movie and just everything. And what was cool is I actually had some scenes with Dee. I am in the movie, small, not too much. And that was fun, being able to work with her, not only as a director, but to be able to work with her as an actor. So that was really interesting and fun. And she's the type of person that just, she doesn't do many rehearsals because she gets it and she wants everything to be organic, and it works. Everybody has their own different method, which is interesting too, as a director, seeing some people love to rehearse over and over and over again and make it clockwork, boom, 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 which is fine too. It's just seeing how it's all done. It's interesting to see everyone's level of process, everyone's process and everyone's level of how they do things. But she's just totally into it, spontaneous, and that was really, really fun and unique and just sweetheart. And she changes it up, and every time she does it a little different, but every time it's still genuine. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, how do you do that? And I can't do that. I'm not as good as Dee Wallace, So that was fun. Working with everybody though. I mean, you mentioned the cast, right? Dee Wallace, Jeffrey Combs, Tim Reed, Felissa Rose, Dave Sheridan, Terry Alexander from Day of the Dead, Tony Todd, everybody, Danielle Harris. I mean, we have some really, really great people that we all know and love from the horror world. But then we made sure that even the unknowns, or I like to call them the soon-to-be knowns, that once this movie's out, people will see and connect. They're really just as talented, and I think you guys are going to really resonate with them too. So we have a strong cast, and I'm very proud of that. And I think it starts with the story. First and foremost, that's what we wanted to do, is have a good story that even if we didn't have these names attached to it, horror fans and movie lovers would still like it. And I think that reason of having a good story is why we got the people who signed on to the project, and to be a part of it is why, and we made sure it wasn't just a gimmick to have the names either. They belong in these roles.
Give us the plot for this. What's this film about?
Sure. So there's two different ways I kind of pitch and talk about this movie. The first one is, every horror film from the dawn of time, what do? They exploit your safe space, right?
Hmm.
So Psycho did it with the motel, and Nightmare on Elm Street did it with Our Dreams. Jaws did it with A Day at the Beach. Halloween did it with The Neighborhood, right? Jason did it with Friday the 13th, did it with the summer camp. So all of these films take these places that we all can kind of have a connection to, that we all feel safe about, and then exploit them and say it could be bad and there's evil out there and whatever. So we had said, what is something now that everyone kind of all does, everyone can all connect to, everyone all kind of feels safe about, but also questions too, because there's still an unknown level to it. Like with Jaws, like we feel safe at the beach, but there's still that unknown of what's below us in the water. And then what we kept coming back to was technology, right? The phones, the internet, the World Wide Web, everything. We all use it. We all communicate through it. We all have our Alexas in the houses, right? But it's like, is it listening to me? Is the government hearing every word? Is my video camera here that we're talking on when I'm private in my own house, is it recording me, right? So we figured, okay, that's kind of our 21st century safe space, but yet something that we question, that everybody has and everybody understands, that we can exploit. So that's the modern element of it. We wanted to modernize horror. But then there's the flip side of it. And it's like, okay, you have that, but now you need your traditional story. And I love slasher films. Like, how can you incorporate that real life, real deal slasher killer like Michael Myers and things like that, and now bring it into this modern world? So at the heart of it, the story is about a family that is struggling to connect now. You got this teenage daughter who's kind of rebellious, and you got the father who works too much, and you got the mom who feels everything's falling apart and she needs to reconnect, and you got the son who might go off on this bad path too, or maybe not. He's at that age where he's seeing what his sister's doing. So the family decides to relive a vacation from their past, and almost like the Wally World thing, right? Where vacation, where it's like, okay, let's bring everybody together, and the dad's trying so hard, and we're going to do this. So they go to a resort that they went to at one point where it was the happiest that they've ever have been. And they go to this resort, but it's under new management, and it's all updated, it's all modernized, and it's not what they expected it to be. And from there, the entire hotel is locked down, all the guests inside, and 4 serial killers are unleashed into the hotel to play this sick, sadistic game on all of its guests. And sadly, the Keenan family are kind of trapped right in the middle of all of that.
It kind of reminds me of a House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, it's got, like I said, we try to do something different when you see the film and do something fresh, but pay tribute to a lot of these horror films that we all love. It's got a little bit of a Clockwork Orange, feel. It's got a House of a Thousand Corpses. It's got a Purgy, a Saw, a Halloween. It's got all of these elements that obviously any horror lover will go into and say, oh, I see the influence there. Oh, I see that. Oh, okay. But again, through a combination of all of them, it kind of creates its own thing, which is cool. It's got a little Hostel vibe. It's got those, films for sure influence, because I love those films. We all do. And how could it not? So we have a mix and match kind of thing, and I think it works, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to even be offering this opportunity for fellow horror fans a chance. 90% of the movie shot, but to have a chance to come on board and be a part of this through the Indiegogo campaign is just an incredible thing that I'm happy and honored to be able to extend that to anybody who's interested.
Absolutely. I mentioned, of course, I met Dave Sheraton. I met Felissa Rose. Felissa was so cool to meet because I'm working on getting her on here. She said she'd do the show, and
Oh, she'll do it, and she's fun.
She was the busiest one at Frightmare. She brought her A game 110%. I urge anybody listening to this, if you see Felissa at a con, go meet her, because she gave everybody a big hug. She wasn't afraid of people and this and that, and loved it when she did the picture with the Angela face. And
she loves her fans. She really genuine, and you see that. You see that everybody that meets her sees how much she actually cares and how genuine she is.
Well, I got a picture also for my younger brother. You see, our parents are both terminally ill. My brother, of course, is taking care of them. And I mentioned this to her whenever she was signing the picture, and she goes, "Can I do a shout out video for your brother?" And I like that was so considerate for her to offer that,
That's cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah, like she's so cool. And of course, I showed her Sandy Johnson's Doubtfire Face challenge for suicide depression awareness, which is you take a pie in the face and you nominate three people. And Sandy nominated Nick Castle, PJ Souls, and Felissa Rose. And I said to Sandy, I've had her on there a couple times. I said, I'm going to show that to Felissa when I'm at the con. She thought that was a great idea. I showed it to Felissa, and Felissa was like, she turned to her handler and she goes, I'm going to take a pie in the face. I don't know
that's
if she's done it yet, but I did send her a Cameo recently because I found out she was on Cameo and I was like, I'll send it to her. She gets a little extra money and she could do it as well. So,
oh, that's fun. I'm sure
yeah.
she'll. Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure she'll love to do that.
Well, I've struggled with that because um, I had somebody tell me recently it only takes less than $5 for that stuff, and I've had a few people do it. Um, Ariel Teal Piper, Roddy Piper's daughter, did it because I'm still connected with her. Um, James Ellsworth and Tori Wilson, both wrestlers, they did it, and Nancy McLaughlin. I've had various people do it, and I always thought, I hate it if I get burned on Cameo with it. I've had a couple do that, but anyway, I've threw it out to a few people on Cameo to see if I could nudge a response. Now, I met Laura Vandervoort at Frightmare in the Falls, and she actually agreed to a Doubtfire challenge, and I said I'd do it through Cameo. And she didn't even know how much her Cameo was.
Oh wow.
But she said if she doesn't get back to me, she said, understand that. And I said, I've already resubmitted it for a second time because, expired. And I was like, I get it. She probably hasn't seen it yet. So I just resubmitted it.
Oh,
But
cool.
she is another one that did a shout out for me. But I just, I don't get it. You could have Officer Doofy, Angela, and with Lyndon Porco, you could have Leprechaun. Think about the movie you got right there at your fingertips.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Who do you think wins that battle?
I think they all have a leg up in different avenues for sure. Lyndon is low to the ground, quick, aerodynamic. Officer Doofy is, you kind of let your guard down with him because he looks innocent and feels innocent, but in reality, we all know what ends up happening at the end of that movie and how, he is. And then obviously you have Felissa Rose, who you don't know what lies beneath. if she's playing Angela. So
Yeah, she was a delight to meet. And gotta look over this cast here. Haven't had Jeffrey Combs on here yet. Somebody else I'd like to look into at some point. Daniel Roebuck, I'm familiar with him. He's been
yeah,
in a
he just
lot
got
of
cast. Yeah, he just got cast as Grandpa Munster in Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
Rob Zombie's The Monsters. I'm
Yeah,
a lot of people are questioning what kind of monsters Rob Zombie's gonna make.
I know.
I'm okay as long as Sherry Moon is in it. People always criticize he cast his wife, and I'm like, she's hot. I
Yeah,
want
and
to see
she's
her.
his wife. Yeah, and she's, what? It's a good thing they got going. So I'm interested to seeing how this plays out too, because he can go and do it like the show, which I think would be cool to see Rob Zombie do that. I've never seen anything like that from him. Or he might change this whole thing and do it Rob Zombie style, and it's like, okay, that might be interesting too. So it's definitely gonna be a ride for sure, and whichever way he goes. So.
You got Caroline Anderson. You've got and of course Danielle Harris. Talk about bringing Danielle Harris into this.
That was a fun one for sure. And Danielle was someone that we had always discussed for the role, and we wanted her to be the matriarch of the family, of the Keenan family. And Danielle, when we approached her, I says, this could be something where she's going to either really like this because I've never seen anything that she's ever done that's similar to this, or she's going to say, it's not really for her. And we were interested to see which one we got. Obviously, she connected with the role immediately. And what was cool is she said, this is something that I've always wanted to do, because right now she is a mom. And she's at that stage in her life to where she can really connect and relate to it. She goes, Mike, she goes, no one has ever asked me to play a mom. She goes, they always ask me, to play the badass girl with the gun, or, the hot girl, and, whatever. And she goes, no one's ever just asked me to just be a mom. And, and some of the things we do in the film are different, and she's never done them before. So she said, this is really unique experience. And she goes, I'm all in. So that was cool to give her something to work with and something to play with that she had never done before. And she had wrote something on my script that I can't share with because it's a spoiler alert. But we'll be able to talk about it when the movie's out. But she wrote something on my script that was so amazing and so cool that it was the best something that she's ever done in her entire career. And she had wrote that, and I didn't know she wrote that. She found my script laying off to the side, and she signed it. And she wrote that little note, and that was really, really incredible. And I can't wait to share with everyone what that is when the movie's out. But to get that from Danielle Harris and to be a part of something unique in her career was just something that I'll remember forever.
Yeah, well, she could have still played a mom and been a badass with a gun.
Yeah. I mean, look, she's definitely, I don't want to give anything away, but she's definitely a badass. And she definitely has some fight in her. I was basically talking more along the lines of just being the mom in general. And usually they don't even cast her with kids, and, they kind of make her play, the single woman and, stuff like that of strength, which is great. And she does it great. And that's why she gets those roles. But this was definitely something cool to have her in the authoritative figure of having a family and someone in that world.
Did you drop her down another laundry chute?
Considered it. I mean, that scene is fantastic, right?
I laugh every time I see that, because all you hear is the sound and you just see the shift of the laundry.
We should have. Stream 2, Danielle Harris back in the laundry chute. That'd be fun.
Absolutely. I want to bring up abnormal behavior, because when I looked over your perks and you mentioned you get Blu-ray of Stream and Abnormal Behavior, I was like, Abnormal Attraction, excuse me.
Right.
It's like, where do I know that movie? Well, it turns out I had a guest on. I've had this guest on twice before, and I met her at Horrorama 2017. And that is Leslie Donaldson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Leslie, she's awesome. She's fantastic. She there's a line in that movie that she says, which is I can curse on
Go ahead.
She turns and she says, "Hey, fuckface." And that line is solely, I think, the reason she took the part, because we were in a festival. We were somewhere. Oh, it was the Hot Springs Horror Film Festival, Tamara Glynn's festival. And that came up as a joke somehow. And I told her, I said, we're gonna put you in our next film, and we're gonna write that line for you. She goes, "Please, I need to say this line in a movie. It is my life goal to say this line." And we made it work, and we put that into Abnormal Attraction. And she plays a really fun character in that movie. For those of you, I mean, I don't want to give any spoilers away or not, but she, it's very sexualized, and she had a blast with it for sure, especially certain gestures she got to do to release her sexual fantasy.
I had her on there a couple times. I met her. I got some stuff signed, like my curtains Blu-ray and this and that.
That's cool,
She she had talked about being in this movie, and I was like, this is where I know this from. I looked the credits up and I was like, yeah, Leslie talked about this, because she said, I guess she's in footage with Bruce Davison, I guess.
Yes, she's in the whole her character is in all the scenes with Bruce Davison, which is really, really awesome. And that was fun to see their dynamic together.
So Bruce gets called fuckface?
Yes, it is Bruce that gets called fuckface.
And
I think his response, which is so, it wasn't in the script, I don't think. And his response to that was, he looked startled. He goes, "What? Excuse me?" fuckface. He's like, I don't what. And the way he played it was just so perfect and so innocent and genuine that you can't help but just laugh at the absurdity that is happening in this moment of the movie.
Yeah, I don't think Leslie gets used enough, and it's hard for older actresses. And it's like there's a lot of talent that's not being utilized. And I said that I'll say this about Lisa Langlois as well, another great talent. Um, they bring a lot to the table, You had Leslie Easterbrooks in this. I mean,
Yes. Leslie too, sweet, and I agree with you, and I agree because a lot of times, sadly, it used to be the young woman were the sex symbols, and once they kind of age out of that, that's kind of it. And but I think their prime is now, where they could really deliver these fantastic performances, and having someone like Leslie Donaldson, Leslie Easterbrook, and you know you really get a strong performance out of them. And I was honored just to be able to work with them and have them in this film. And someone who I would love to work with that's kind of in that same realm that I don't think I see enough of nowadays. Obviously, she's an icon in her own right, but Heather Langenkamp, right? She was in Nightmare on Elm Street and she was everything that she was then, but I'd love to see her now in
mhm.
something because she's a great performer and a strong presence. And, so she's definitely someone that's on my radar to do something with at some point.
So did Leslie Easterbrook bring out her inner Sergeant Callahan?
Yeah, I mean, she's just a riot to be around, and just a really sweet, sweet woman. I became friends with her before we filmed, and I had asked her to do the role of Madame Hildy. She's the witch in the movie. And I said, Leslie, we'd love to have you do this. And she says, yeah, I'd love to read the script. And she read the script. And she goes, Mike, the whole movie, I'm reading this. I'm like, what? Like, it's getting crazier and bigger. And she's like, what the hell is going on? And finally, when the whole thing comes to an end, she goes, I got it. She goes, what a perfect little movie that, can reach an audience that will just kind of look at this as a fun, silly, dumb comedy, but then there's such a great morality tale to it. And she goes, and fairy tales by heart have that. You read that to your kid. And now you're doing it to an adult to kind of remind people of these messages. And she goes, I don't see that done in movies like this. And I think that's something unique. I'd love to do it. And it was cool that she understood and got it. And to be able to, again, work with a friend and work with someone that you've known for a few years. She approached the role with such grace, but just such, it's a fun, silly movie, but just such a seriousness, to it too. And she took everything so serious and approached it as if she was, working on an Academy Award nominated. Same with Bruce, film. And I'm really happy with what we got from them and very proud of that movie. It's a niche movie, not many people are going to probably connect with it, but people who do and people who get it, it became like a little culty thing. They really understood and got what we were going for with that film. And I just had fun making it. It's definitely a certain group that will get the humor.
Mhm.
But what a fun movie to work on.
And you got Malcolm McDowell, who, of course, A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, yeah, the cast, yeah, that's another one. Cool cast, Malcolm McDowell, and we talked about Leslie and Bruce and Leslie, but then we have Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh my God! Yeah, you got Gilbert. I just noticed him on
Yeah, well, Gilbert Gottfried is in there, and Ron Jeremy makes a cameo appearance
Oh
in the
my
movie.
goodness, Tyler
That
Maine.
Tyler Maine, and I will go on record to say this, and I will say this over and over again. This to me is Tyler Maine's best role ever. He brings it, he delivers it, and you actually look and say, wow, what range Tyler Maine has. He plays this lovable, innocent, pure and genuine Bernie the Cyclops, to where we're used to seeing Tyler as either Michael Myers behind the mask, brute killing, or a badass, kind of guy that's, like the biker kind of guy, the mean guy. Whereas he is so pure and innocent and genuine. He knocks this role out of park. It is so different for him. I just think people should see this movie for his performance alone, because I think it's his best role and his best performance ever. I really do.
Well, I just think it's funny. You got You got Gilbert Godfrey playing Pigman.
Yep. Yep. There are definitely some characters in there, Pigman, and I mean they're all fairy tale creatures for anybody who's listening. And the movie is about it's in a world where humans and fairy tale creatures all live together. And it's kind of that 80s, 90s campy style of comedy and monster looking. And, we have Andy, the abominable snowman, who drives a snow cone truck and gives snow cones out. We have Frankenstein, who's played by Tom Hanks' brother.
Okay.
And his name is actually Frank Stein because he's Jewish, and he's our Jewish Frankenstein. So there's a lot of social commentary. There's a lot of blending fairy tale and fantasy with realism. And there's a really big morality tale of acceptance and racism and things like that. So it's definitely a unique movie, to say the least.
I need to ask you about Halloween Awakenings, the legacy of Michael Myers. I didn't even know about this until today. And I was like, this takes place after Halloween Resurrection, which I gotta say it's on the same level as Jason X and Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. It's more a joke than a horror film, Um, talk about Halloween Awakenings. Yeah, what did you do to sway the trick or treat motherfucker of the series?
So what we wanted to do with that was Halloween movies, the Halloween franchise was running a fan film competition at the time. And this was back in 2012, I want to say, maybe 2013. It was in that time frame. And they says, you can make a feature length film, a short film, whatever. And we'd love to see it as a competition. So we decided to do something unique. And at the time there was the 1 and 2 storyline, the 1, 2 and H2O storyline. Then there was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So there was this non-canon storyline that was happening. Now it's happened even more with the new movies, right? And the Rob Zombies and all that. So we said, we're going to take this and try to figure out a way to make everything canon, to where we'll make Halloween's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, H2O and Resurrection all one continuous storyline for the fans that want to have that adventure. And we found a creative way to do that and make it work. And we actually had Tom Kane, who voiced over Dr. Loomis in Halloween H2O during the opening credit sequence, to do some Dr. Loomis work and voiceover for us in this film. And we had found a way, it picks up after Resurrection, where Michael Myers is burned and he wakes up in the morgue. And we literally pick it up right from that moment, and then fast forward to a year later or a couple of years later, to where Michael is now stalking Sheriff Brackett's son in now Smith's Grove, where he's working as a security guard. And it kind of then goes off into its own story from there that is very much in the vein of John Carpenter's style of Halloween's 1 and 2. And I think we were able to accomplish that. A lot of fans seem to really like it, actually, which is humbling and really, really cool.
Oh, you didn't want to model it after Resurrection?
No, we felt that wasn't, we felt it was show that it takes place after Resurrection, that the continuity can exist, and then kind of move past it immediately. So we kind of tie up all the loose ends in the franchise, and then also pose a new storyline. And I think it worked because this was made on like a really low budget thing. And the original Halloween, right, was made on that low budget, where you have to rely on atmosphere and you have to rely on creative camera work. And at that time, we were at that stage in our careers to where we didn't have the means to really do much, and the lighting was simple. And so I think where we were really lended to having this thing be very similar to what Carpenter and his team were doing in the first one. And I'm very proud of that, fan film, to where I still get letters and emails from fans who can consider this really a part of the franchise. Funny story with that. I became very good friends with Ryan with Ryan Freeman, who's the producer of the new Halloweens, and he's on board with the Trancas film, Malika Akkad, and Ryan Turk, and this whole Blumhouse. I became really good friends with those guys, or friendly with those guys, because of this initial Halloween Awakening that they had seen. And they said, wow, this is pretty good. And then we did a Halloween 60 spoof 2 years ago, which is a shot-for-shot trailer redo, making Michael Myers no longer 60, which he is in the new movies, and making him, where is he, 40 and 60 or 60 and 70? Like, we make him an old man, and we kind of do all these tropes and things, and that went viral. And literally, if you haven't seen it, take a look. It's a fun 2-minute thing that mocks the trailer and shows what it would be if Michael Myers was actually being portrayed as the age that he is. And we had a, I don't know if I have it here to show you. Oh, I do. Hold on a second. We had for those who are Halloween fans, Michael Myers was Captain Kirk mask, which is William Shatner, and it was spray painted white and the hair was changed. So we got William Shatner's face now as is, and our mask for Halloween 60 here was Old Man Myers. And this is actually from a current mold of what William Shatner looks like now. And then obviously we, grayed up the hair, made it receding, and made him look like an old man. So this is our Halloween Michael Myers 60 mask that we did in the spoof trailer. And that was cool. David Gordon Green had seen it, and, he was like, you guys are like how me and Danny McBride were back in college, just having fun and making movies. And, he's like, you guys remind me of that. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah. So what do you got what are you working on that you got coming up after stream? Is there anything you can talk about?
So we have a few things. Some I can't, some I can. We have some comedy things in the work. We have some other horror stuff in the works. Obviously, I mean, the no secret is we're looking to make stream a franchise. So, we're hoping to move into the sequel pretty quickly with that. Obviously, Terrifier 3, there's no secret that Terrifier 3 is going to go into production as well. A matter of when, and so those are things we're working on. Damien has another project he's looking to do, whether it's before or after Terrifier 3, we don't know yet. So there's a lot of things that are kind of floating out there. It's just a matter of, okay, what's the order that they're all going to happen?
Well, Terrifier 3, sorry to interrupt, but will Terrifier 3 have Officer Doofy investigating Terrifier?
It's an interesting plot line. I'd love to see a world where that happens.
And have Angela turn up.
Right. So it's all happening. It's all there. But for those who are interested in seeing something now that we had done, right after we filmed a Normal Attraction and in between Terrifier and Stream and stuff, we did a movie called Penance Lane.
Okay.
It's Tyler Maine's movie. I was a producer on it, assistant director, and I also have a small role. I play Scout Taylor Compton's a boyfriend in the film.
Oh, that must have been hard to do.
Yeah, it was extremely hard. She was very lucky to. So the movie stars Tyler Maine, Scout Taylor Compton. So you have a reunion there of Laurie and Michael, Danny Roebuck, and John Schneider, who is Bo Duke from the original Dukes of Hazzard. This is a low budget horror film. It's cool. It's different. It's got a moody atmosphere, and that is available, I think, right now on Amazon Prime and a few other places. So that's something, if anybody's looking, we did that movie, but super, super low budget. But, for the horror fans, it's a fun little niche film that you guys could definitely check out.
So did you get to kiss Scout Taylor Compton in the movie?
I don't remember.
How do you not remember?
Because it didn't. If I did, it didn't make the movie, so I don't remember if it.
I would have remembered
if we did a scene. Yeah, if we did it, I don't think, but because we shot this a few years ago, I don't think I did, which is crazy because I was her boyfriend, right? You would think that there would be, but she didn't like me. I was her boyfriend that she hated, so I was abusive boyfriend. So I don't think we did. Or at least it wasn't in the movie if there was a take or anything. But it was cool to play her boyfriend in any way. And
I'm sure she'll be really impressed to know that you forgot.
I don't think so. Maybe she has a better memory of it. The movie was shot so quickly and so fast. maybe there was something, but it definitely didn't make the movie because I saw the movie recently, and there was definitely no kiss in there. But I don't remember if there was and it got cut or not. I don't think though. But yeah, I got to play her boyfriend. I was abusive. She didn't like me, so I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a kiss scene or anything like that. But I was trying to get her in the movie to give me a blowjob. That I do remember. She wasn't having that, and then I think I slapped her, and then I get my ass handed to me from Tyler Maine. So it really progresses quickly. I play just an asshole in it.
How about whining and dining her instead of getting that direct?
Right. See, why? Here's my question: why do I gotta play assholes? Right? Like, why am I given that role? Like, I could have been a nice boyfriend. I could have been like sweet and
You're
not
making a lot of wrong decisions. I mean, you could have went home instead of went in
I know.
the place in Terrifier.
I know. And I make a wrong decision in this movie too, and it don't work out for me. So I don't know.
What is with you and wrong decisions?
I don't know. I guess it's just they see me and they say, well, this guy looks like he'll make the wrong choices in life. Let's cast him. I make the right choice in Stream. How about that? Get the hell out of there.
Yeah. So I have mentioned the Doubtfire Face challenge for suicide and depression awareness. Would you be down for something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will definitely be down. It's a great cause. It's fun. I love taking a pie in the face. It sounds exciting. So I will definitely just let me know what I have to do and how to do it. And you got it.
Would it be possible that you nominate some of these named people?
Yeah, I'll nominate. I'll nominate a few people. You're supposed to nominate 3 people.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll nominate some people for you, and we'll see if they do it. Hopefully, they do, and it'll definitely be fun. But you definitely got me in on it. I'll without a doubt do it for you.
Okay. You think Danielle Harris would do it?
We'll give it a shot. I mean, she's a great person. It's just a matter of how willing she is to take that pie in the face. But I could definitely, put it out there and see what happens.
I know they have a better chance listening to you than me. I'll tell you that.
That's debatable sometimes.
Yeah. No. Are there people out there that you think would definitely do it?
Oh yeah, there's definitely people out there I could definitely get to do it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd recommend you nominate Danielle Harris. I think a lot of people would like to see that, but
That would be fun.
yeah. But in terms of future, I know you've worked with Eileen Dietz before, and I've had her on here a couple times. In fact, I got a little miniature Pazuzu statue boxed around here somewhere that she sent me. I like Eileen. She's awesome.
Yeah, she is. She was in Abnormal Attraction too, actually.
Oh, was she that? Okay, I knew you had her in something.
I worked with her a few. I've worked with her a few. I worked with her on like 3 or 4 different projects, maybe 5. But yeah, that was one of them. She's a sweetheart, really is. And I talk to her every Sunday because I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, and we have Tom Brady now, and she's a Tom Brady fan, and she's a Cowboy fan. So we talk football all the time on Sundays. We watch the games.
Does she play football as Pazuzu?
That would be an interesting movie. That's a visual.
I love Eileen. Another person I would recommend highly that you get in a movie, because I've interviewed her twice. She did do a Doubtfire Face challenge, but I also hear that she's an absolute doll to meet, and that's Sandy Johnson.
Oh, I have not worked with her. I met her once quickly at her first convention in Pasadena at the Halloween 40. She was really awesome. And I only got to chat with her for about 5 or so minutes, maybe less, but she really seemed like a sweetheart. I'm Facebook friends with her, and I've seen how much fun she has with things. So she's definitely someone as well I'd love to, get to know a little more for sure.
Yeah. No, I have enjoyed doing this. I was happy to get you on here. It's like I said, I get annoyed how much I get hit up now because I'm not financially where I'm in that place. But I always look the project up, and I was like, I did a double take. I said, "Is the Exterminator from Terrifier messaging me?" It was so surreal. I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "I feel."
Listen, I love to get in touch with fans and people, and I'm very accessible, and that's just who I am. I just like to be as genuine in who I am and reach out. And so, I'm glad I did reach out to you, because this is a pleasure being on here. You're a great, great dude. And I just thank you also for contributing to the campaign as well.
Yeah, well, when I saw Abnormal Attraction, it's like, I know that, or it's a normal
Yep.
attraction or a
Yep.
normal behavior.
Abnormal attraction. AA, two A's. That's how they
AA.
wrote that.
Okay. And I was like, I know that title. And that's, of course, Leslie Donaldson. And I'm like, okay, this was talked about because we talked about it. She had mentioned that she had worked with Bruce Davison, and I was like, okay. I didn't know about the fuckface thing though, but mind you, but I'm looking forward to getting those Blu-rays. So I'm up for that, and having my name in the credits. So I was like, okay, I can do that. I can do that. But yeah, it must be interesting growing up with these movies and doing these films and being able to cast some of these people in the films. So
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely a fun ride, and I'm just honored and privileged to be able to do it. And this has been a dream of mine my entire life, of being in filmmaking, and just to be able to do it is just a total blessing. So I'm humbled by it for sure.
absolutely. Now, going back to the cons, what's the strangest thing you've ever been asked to sign?
Huh. I did. I mean, it's not strange, but I was asked to sign someone's arm. I think it was that they were going to get tattooed. They had like all the cast of Terrifier that was there, and they were tattooing everyone's arm. I mean, it's strange. It's weird, but not too crazy. I mean, many people do that. Trying to think, I felt like there was one that recently just happened. Because I remember my business partner Steve saying, "Well, that's a new one," but I can't remember what the heck it was.
Catherine Mary Stewart told me that she signed somebody's ass. I was like,
Yeah,
that's a new one.
that is a new one. That's, I mean, look, some people, I think Damien or some Dave signed someone's chest. Uh, it's bizarre, but people, whatever. I mean, if that's the way they want it, it is what it is. No, it's fun though. We sign a ton of like objects and things that are really, really cool. Like people get like, they have the Terrifier masks and stuff, but then some people make their own stuff like bobbleheads. And like, I got this one here that was a gift. It's like a little of me getting decapitated by art. So there's like, little cool things that I've signed. I've signed like the Funko Pops. Somebody did like a Will the Exterminator Funko Pop thing that I've signed. And then, so.
Does Jenna have a Funko Pop?
I think she does, actually. I think she does. I think Jenna and Catherine do.
Jenna and Catherine.
I think
Okay.
they do. I've seen them on like on Instagram. I think by the same person that makes them. So
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to promote on here before we close off?
it's basically, just if you guys want, follow us at Fuzz on the Lens Productions. Fuzz on the Lens on everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. And then obviously, if you're into the more horror stuff, Stream is a big one, at Stream Franchise, just to follow along the process, and you'll see the whole, what we're doing with the movie and all the updates and stuff. And then again, the biggest thing we're working on right now, it's still open and the in demand, is the Indiegogo campaign. We're currently sitting at 94,000. We're trying to reach 100. If we reach 100,000, we're actually going to film an entirely new kill scene that will involve another horror icon that's not currently cast or named in the film. And we're going to be able to open it up for someone or someones from Indiegogo at that point to get a perk to be a part of those scenes. So, that's definitely something we'd love to do. It was a pipe dream that we thought it would be cool to do this, and we just didn't have the funds to do it. But now we're actually so close to it becoming a reality. I can't even believe that we're at this stage. So, we'd be honored to include some people from Indiegogo as a perk once we hit that goal. So those are definitely the main things right now.
Will it involve Leslie Donaldson calling somebody a fuckface?
Won't on this one, sadly. But I'd love to revisit that moment. It was definitely a highlight in my career.
Well, you know what? It was great having you on here today. And next year, maybe next year around this time, when you get this done and other projects on the go, I'll be more than happy to have you back. And maybe by then, I'll have had Damien and Jenna and Catherine and people like that on here as well.
Yeah, we could talk more about Terrifier 2 and everything. So yeah, I'd be honored to come back on, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. And just thank you again for having me. And thank you for, again, contributing and joining the stream team and being on the campaign. It means the world, bud, really.
And we got to work on this Officer Doofy Angela Leprechaun crossover.
It'd be interesting. I'll tell you that. It definitely would be interesting.
I think it's got more potential than Freddy versus Jason or Alien versus Predator. I really, you know, you could have Dave Sheridan as Officer Doofy get asked how many victims there was, and this many.
Fun character, fun character. And when you see Abnormal Attraction, I know we're going to send you the Blu-ray. When you see it, I got to know your thoughts on a character named Finbar, which my brother plays, which is a riot character. And I think you'll really, really enjoy that for sure.
You could have him say, Angela swallows.
It would be an interesting movie for sure.
You have your brother in a lot of movies. That must be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. He's a fun guy, and always comes from a background of improv. So always keeping you on your heels and on your feet, and making us laugh. So, and he actually has alopecia, so he's completely hairless. So for us, he's just you can mold him into any kind of character you want. He's a blank canvas.
Is that like what Michael Berryman has? Because apparently he can't grow hair.
Yes. And so a few people have it, and he's had it since he was younger, lost his hair one day, no eyebrows, facial hair, anything. So that's really all it is. So it's kind of like he's just allergic to hair. So Jason has that, but he deals with it pretty great. And at this point now, he don't even need hair. He looks great without it. So.
Well, you know what? Michael Berryman was supposed to be at Frightmare in the Falls, and he ended up being postponed. But these people are pretty cool. Doesn't matter whether they have hair; they're pretty cool.
Yeah, Derek Mears has it too, actually, who played Jason in the new Friday the 13th.
Oh remake. Wow!
Yeah, he's got it too. Yeah.
Well, Jason in Part 2 had hair on one side of his head.
That's it. Maybe he had it.
maybe he had it. Who knows? He didn't have it by the third and fourth movie, I'll tell you that. Well, Michael, it was so awesome to have you on here. And if you get a chance, do a Doubtfire Face challenge, and fire that out there. I want to get people in the industry involved. So
thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, but I'm happy to be part of this. Thank you for thinking of me and even reaching out. Like I said, but when I found out it was the Exterminator from Terrifier, I was a little surprised that a guy from this movie was reaching out to me. I was like, shouldn't it be the opposite?
Well, I'm glad I did. And it's, like I said, it's an honor to have you on board and a pleasure to do this interview with you, man. And I look forward to more, man. Thank you again for your support.
Absolutely. You take care. God bless. Before I let you go, please do a plug for my show.
Sure. What would you like me to say?
State your name and that you are the Exterminator and Terrifier, and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Great. Hi there, I'm Michael Leavy. I play Will the Exterminator in Terrifier, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on I'll do it again. But Python's Paradise.
Yeah.
Right. Hi, I'm Michael Leavy, and I play Will the Exterminator, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Absolutely. And Will is available for all your extermination needs.
That's right. And if you have a missing key, I'll find it.
But beware, something bad will happen to him because he makes all the worst decisions. So if your toilets are not plugged, they will be by the time he's done.
Exactly. I'm not very good at my job.
Take care. Good luck on this project. I'm honored to be part of it.
Thank you so much again, man, and have a great day.
You take care, man.
Bye.
Bye bye.